Hey everybody, Derek here to bring another video for The Walking Dead Season 6. And what this video is going to be doing is analyzing Morgan. We've seen Morgan over the last two episodes. We've seen a little bit of the philosophy that he has. And I kind of want to look into it a little bit to see exactly why he believes what he believes, where the origins may have come from, and what might happen in the future. Will he change his ways after seeing some of the things that happen and after the events of JSS? Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out. If you have not watched up to the episode JSS and you do not want to be spoiled, this video will contain information from the comics, from the TV show, up through the latest episode. So if you are not caught up, do not watch the video because otherwise you will be spoiled. Okay. So, looking at Morgan's perspective right now, based on the episodes of Conquer, First Time Again, and JSS, we have seen that Morgan has changed a lot ever since the episode Clear. In Clear, it was pretty obvious that Morgan was, emotionally and mentally worn out, possibly bordering on the lines of insanity, and he had just been clearing the town. That was just his purpose. He was going around killing walkers, clearing the town because that's what he did. That was his philosophy of what he wanted to do. And he had really just given up on any hope of being in a normal world. And of course you have Rick, who visited the town and found Morgan and told him, that it's not over. There's still a world out there. You can still be a good person, Morgan. This isn't the end, And those words apparently sank in a little bit with Morgan. And, eventually we see that he has made somewhat of a turnaround and has made his way to Washington, D.C. and has been reunited with Rick. Now, we've seen, though, that Morgan has adopted this philosophy of all life is precious, and seeing that he doesn't want to kill people. He doesn't want to, even the most savage of individuals like the wolves, he does not want to kill, and he doesn't want to see anybody else kill. And I was trying to look into that a little bit to see, why does he have these motivations? Why exactly would he feel this way? And I think I've come up with some pretty good theories on that. First thing I want to do is go back to the comics and try to compare a little bit of Morgan to the comics to the TV show. In the comics, when we get to this point in the comic books, Abraham, Rick, and Carl went to Rick's old town to get guns for the mission to go to D.C. And they end up running into Morgan. And Morgan reveals that Dwayne was killed by a walker. And, you're made to think, so that's unfortunate, that he was killed by a walker. And we find out that Morgan has been keeping Dwayne kind of like how the governor kept Penny chained up as a walker. And it turns out that he killed 4 people that came into the town and that he fed them to Dwayne in order to keep him, keep the walker fed, which is something that the governor also did. And Morgan even admits, he doesn't know if these people were bad people, good people. He has no idea. He just killed them. And in the comics, Morgan does border on that, insanity line as well. But he never, in the comics, becomes what he is now. And I think that a lot of the reasons for Morgan's change is that we're going to see a parallel like that, I think, in the TV show as well. I've heard that there is going to be a flashback with Morgan in it. And I think that something along those similar lines is going to happen in the TV show. I think we're going to find out that Morgan did kill people. Whether he kept Dwayne as a walker or not, that's definitely a question that they may explore, they may not. But it may just be that Morgan would just kill people because he thought of them as threats, kind of like how he did with Rick. He just was having this idea of dead people wearing dead people's faces. He just didn't quite grasp that there were people out there. I think he only had this concept of there's bad people and there's dead people, and I have to clear. I have to clear everything in this town. I can't let any threat inside of here. And I think that a lot of those origins go back to, in the TV show, how Dwayne died in the TV show. Because in the comics, it seemed like it was just a random walker. In the TV show, we find out that, of course, in the pilot, if you remember all the way back in Days Gone By, Morgan's wife had died, became a walker, and was out there. And Morgan, wanted to put her down but couldn't bring himself to do it. As it turns out, he didn't do it for a while at all. And Dwayne and him were surviving together. And they went to a house. They were getting supplies. And it was Morgan's wife as a walker that bit Dwayne and killed him. And you see Morgan saying, I saw red and I did it, but it was too late. And I think that a lot of his philosophy for why he cleared the town was, for that same reason. I think that he felt guilt over Dwayne's death. And I think that him clearing the town was kind of like maybe trying to find some kind of, penance for that, just doing it because he should have done it before. He should have cleared all the threats, and he didn't, and because of that, Dwayne died. Then he gets the visit from Rick, and I think that starts to engineer some ideas in his head about, life and about himself. And, we've heard that Morgan learned about his stick skills after the events of the apocalypse, and of course he probably had to have learned them after Rick visited, because it wasn't like he was using them then. And I think that a little bit of a mixture of that, plus his past, I think has given him this new philosophy that he has now, of this idea of all life is precious. And the fact that Rick took a man like him, believed in him, told him that he was such a good man, taking all of this into consideration, I think that Morgan has realized that everybody should have that opportunity and everybody can change. I think that he truly believes that in his heart. And again, we may see that in the TV show, Morgan has killed people as well. And I mean, he's admitted it to Rick. He says, I'm a killer, Rick, in that scene when they were putting Pete's body in the trunk. Now, I think that means he's killed people too, because I don't think he would just refer to the walkers as that, because he has no problem killing walkers, as we've seen. And I think the reason behind that is simply because of Dwayne and because of his wife. I think he still holds that belief within himself that, the walkers are dangerous. The walkers can't be reasoned with. They're not people. You can't get through to them. And if you don't put them down, then they're going to hurt somebody, they're going to bite somebody, and then they're dead. And I think that Morgan does not necessarily want to repeat that. He's learned that lesson within himself, that the walkers have to die. There's no question about it, because of the lessons that he's learned with Jenny and with Dwayne. But with people, I think it's this idea that, Morgan himself, who probably did some bad things when he was in that, state in Clear, could come back and could become a good person and could start over again. And I think that when he sees, the wolves in that episode, and just in general, I think that he has that belief that everybody can change. Everybody can come back, no matter what terrible things that they've done. And I believe he holds that true. This idea of that, yeah, if we kill people and we, just not give them a chance and not look at them as people, then we're really losing our humanity, and we're really losing exactly who we are as individuals. And I think that Morgan does not want to see that. I think that he really wants to, become a better person. And, I think that with these wolves, no matter whether they're doing terrible things like this, I think that he wants to see them change. He wants to give them the same opportunity that he was given by Rick. I think that's important to Morgan's character. Now, where will this lead him in the future? Because we've seen that he used that belief with the wolves. You know, the wolves ended up coming and attacking Alexandria. And, you know, throughout, you have people like Carol who, you know, sees them as a threat, sees them as, hey, it's either me or them, and they're attacking people that I've come to know and I care about, and because they're a threat and a discussion, they're getting killed. Whereas Morgan sees it as, these people are doing terrible things, but I've also done terrible things. And, you know, maybe I can get through to them and let them know what they're doing is wrong. I can give them that opportunity to reflect on their lives, which is why I think he let that group go, and potentially taking that guy, you know, capturing him and tying him up, the one that Carol shot. You know, I think that maybe if it was up to him, he would sit down and talk with him. That he would sit down and say, hey, listen, this kind of life you're leading, you can't lead it anymore. And, you know, I think that he would have done that. And I think that what he's done with these other wolves that he let go, that group of 5, he's giving them a chance. He's giving them that opportunity to, you know, go out and reflect on their lives. That he was given a chance by Rick, and that if his words touched, you know, Morgan, if Rick's words touched Morgan the way that, you know, they did, that maybe he thinks that if he relays that same message, that somebody out there is going to get the same thought, that they're going to believe the same exact thing, you know, and change. Now, is that the best way of going about things? Well, it depends. You know, I mean, I think that every person looks and, you know, receives things differently. You know, you look at all these various approaches. I mean, we've heard about approaches before, you know, from like Jessie when she said to Rick, you know, if you tell Ron how to, you know, survive, he's not going to listen to you because he hates you. You killed his father. It's not the right approach, but there may be an approach for Ron to make him, you know, fight, to make him a stronger survivor. With people like Morgan, you know, him getting that message helped bring him back. The wolves, maybe there's nothing. You know, maybe there are people that are too far gone, who have lost too much of their humanity, that it's not possible for them to come back. But Morgan still believes in that he can bring them back. Of course, then you get to the end of the episode where he kills, well, we think he kills the Alpha Wolf, the leader that, you know, we saw in Conquer, that Morgan had the conversation with. You know, the guy finally realizing, wait, you can't kill people. You don't want to do it. You know, I realize that now, so I can just take advantage of you. And Morgan struggled with that decision. You know, struggled to even think about killing him. But when the guy kept coming and coming and coming, you know, Morgan realized he didn't have a choice. He was either going to die, or he was going to have to kill this guy. And I'm operating under the assumption that he did kill him, because he said, I'm sorry, right before he did it. And I don't think he would have apologized just for randomly hitting him. Now, the guy may not have died. You know, it's very possible that the hit was not hard enough, and that he may still be alive and they have him captured. You know, and that they may use him for information to get to the rest of his people. But, you know, I think that we have seen that there are opportunities where Morgan can reach his limit. You know, and I think when it comes right down to it, when he's cornered and there's no other way out, I think that even he realizes within himself that there's just no time to talk. You can't always be perfect, and you can't always go about this idea that you're not going to kill people. You know, it's unfortunate whenever someone in the apocalypse is presented with that kind of a situation, but Morgan realizes, you know, hey, if I can get out of the situation, then I will. But if I can't, then obviously I have no choice when the person just won't listen. And you have a guy like the Alpha Wolf who wasn't going to listen. And I think that going forward, we're going to see Morgan continue to struggle with this philosophy. You know, I hope to learn a little bit more about it from flashbacks, but, you know, I think that having the outlook that Morgan has is definitely a good thing. because it allows you to hold on to your humanity. It allows you to think about how things were before. And I think that ultimately, if you had to name an ultimate goal in a zombie apocalypse, you would want things to go as close back to the way that they were before all of this happened. And obviously, things won't go completely back. But if you can get back to a point where you don't have to kill people, where people can talk to each other like rational human beings, that's something I think that everybody wants. But is now the right time to do that? Maybe not. I think that they're in too much of a transitioning phase. And, you just realize that there are dangerous people out there. And Morgan may have to reflect on that and realize that not everybody can be saved. And we may see him completely abandon his philosophy. We may see him edit it. Or we may see him stick true to it. And I will be interested to see what he does, but I think that only time will tell. But I thought it was a very good episode, and I really enjoyed seeing Morgan. I enjoy Lenny James' performance, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. So let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think Morgan's going to do as the season goes on? Is it a good philosophy? Is it not a good philosophy? Will he change? Let me know what you think. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if you have any suggestions for future videos that you would like to see, don't be afraid to suggest them. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much for watching.